Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Cook, and welcome to my presentation about success tips for beginning educators. Now, before we start, I wanted to give a little bit of context as to why I'm doing this presentation. First off, I'm an English secondary education major at UWG, and I've just completed my first semester of student teaching. So I wanted to share some tips that I've learned from my two field experiences and based off what I've learned from my educational psychology class. Now, here's kind of how we're gonna go through this presentation. First off, I'm gonna introduce my two field experiences, which my first placement I was at a middle school and my second placement I was at a high school. So I'm gonna go over the pros and cons of each age group, and that'll kind of lead into the later tips that I'm gonna talk about. But of course, this is kind of all just to give a little bit of insight into all you new student teachers and new but just beginning teachers, of course. But this is going to kind of give a little bit of insight in my experience. But of course, everyone's experience in the field is going to be different. But the tips we're going to be talking about is building student-teacher relationships, classroom management and structure, lesson planning and knowing your discipline, and safe environment and atmosphere. And then at the end, I'm kind of just going to give a little reminders for the future that I want you to keep in mind. So for my first field experience, I went to Arnold Middle School, and obviously I got to observe my CT's routine and teaching style, which I absolutely loved and connected with. Her students were 6th and 7th grade gifted students, which I was very lucky for. I feel like I really enjoyed them. And then her class period was a 60-minute class period. That's how it was. All right. And then middle schoolers, they tend to ask a lot of questions. They're very inquisitive. They're very active, and they like to move around the classroom a lot. And they require a lot of redirection and refocusing, which I was expecting to have a lot of trouble with, but that didn't bother me a lot, actually. I really enjoyed being so involved with their learning, and I loved answering the questions. And yeah, the needing a lot of attention part, I was surprised that that didn't really bother me, because naturally they're very loud and chaotic, but they can be the sweetest children in the world. I loved those kids, and it was interesting how it defied my expectations of how the middle school is horrible stereotype. And so, which really shocked me. I just really loved that age group. They were really fun. And then my field experience too, I was at Heard County High School, and also I observed my CT's routine and teaching style as well, and it was very different from my middle school CT. And she mainly taught 10th and 11th graders with a little bit of 12th graders mixed in, so you kind of got all of it, like a wide range of different minds in there. And then the class periods were longer at 85 minutes. And high schoolers tend to be very independent. They don't talk a lot usually, and they have a longer attention span. So compared to a middle school classroom, you would be able to teach probably or talk about two or three at most things in the whole entire classroom, compared to a middle school class where you would really be able to focus on one or two things. And surprisingly, high schoolers they have less energy, and they're very apathetic. They're kind of like, I don't really care, you know? So it's harder to get questions out of them. And also they have very busy lives outside of school, but they're also able to learn and complete and do more in one class period, which I think is very good. Tip number one on building student-teacher relationships. This is the most important part about teaching, I feel like. Being a teacher is definitely all about being a good role model to your students and building that relationship with them. And So basically, it's to respect your students no matter their race, gender, sexuality, background, culture, and religious beliefs, and also be aware of your subconscious bias, and also get to know your kids. This is how it makes the learning more personal with them, right? And that can get them more engaged. And make sure that you listen to them and give them feedback. uh, Students will have off days, and that's okay. That's one thing to keep in mind, is that not every day is going to be the same. So but you are supposed to be their rock. They need your support, and that is what keeps them going. They need that positive reinforcement. And be honest with them when you make mistakes. That will gain their trust, right? And give them the opportunity to choose, whether that be in an activity or what they read. It makes them feel more motivated to learn. Be energetic and friendly and active in the classroom. Be vulnerable and open-minded. And also, it's very important, know when to be their friend and be their teacher. That is a big part of what I think made both of my CTs so great, is that they had that nice balance, right? All right, tip number 2, classroom management and structure. Uh, One of the most important things to make an impression on these kids and to gain a sense of authority and control over your classroom, a healthy dose of it, right, is to set classroom procedures and routine and rules. And what I have over there on the right is basically my more in-depth version of my Golden 5 rules, which are: be respectful, be punctual and prepared, ask questions, try your best, and show up. I feel like those are the fundamentals of what those students need to hear in order to have a good baseline for classroom management, right? And also, what I thought was funny is my middle school CT, she had these catchphrases, and I feel like these really were helpful for classroom management regarding how to say things nicely. Get in the house, close your mouths and close your Chromebooks, and pause and mute. And I definitely think those I will take with me to my future classroom. And also, of course, classroom management, you need reinforcements, which can vary from hugs and pats on the back and high fives, which I love to give. Those are my favorite, and compliments. Also, separating students is good, and babysitting, how my high school CT liked to call it, she just sitting by students who have trouble focusing is sometimes all that they need. And my middle schoolers needed that too. And that really helps them. And then rewards, of course, like free 100 tickets and golden tickets, and then letting them work outside in the hallway is a nice reward too, and allowing them to listen to music while they work. Right, tip 3 is lesson planning and knowing your discipline. So some definite do's is being flexible and being able to adapt your schedule to the changes of your lesson plan. You never know what can happen. So that means like changing if your students need more of this, more time to work on this content matter or this, or adding in a few things. Like, it just needs to be very flexible, where you can add and take out stuff and change, right? It needs to be very malleable. And then also making your content relatable to their lives and to the real world. They won't care about it unless you give them an understanding of what the purpose of learning this is to them, right? It needs to be realistic. And also including visual aids, YouTube videos, movie clips, slideshows, Kahoots, game kits, and quizzes are very good for them. And also activities of all kinds, writing, reading, drawing, presentation, technology-based, that just gives them variety, that'll make them more motivated. Also, encouraging classroom discussion. They want discussion. Don't just have them working on their Chromebook the whole entire class, right? That's just boring. They won't learn very good that way. Also, individual group work, working in partners, note-taking on paper, making sure assignments are measurable, where you can actually see what they're doing. And also some don'ts. Don't plan too much in one day, because that will just be way too overwhelming, or it just won't work out. schedules are really tentative to what happens. And also refrain from changing their seating chart often. That just makes them unnecessarily moody. And no busy work. And surprisingly, homework is kind of unnecessary. You should mainly focus about teaching them during class because they have busy lives, especially high school, outside of school. And also, this is some other advice. Every class has a different dynamic. Every student has a different place with their learning, and be aware of their strengths and weaknesses and using scaffolding, and then knowing your discipline makes teaching easier. But student teachers have it hard because you're learning what your CT is doing on the fly. So don't give yourself too hard of a rack right there. All right, yeah. All right, and tip 4, in safe environment and atmosphere. I feel like decorations need to be useful and aesthetically pleasing. All right, so my dream classroom would be a Victorian library-esque decor with various shades of purple and gray and mahogany shelves and a couch in the back of the room. I feel like that would fit my subject area, which is ELA. I just want to have them walk into the classroom and feel like they're walking into the world of literature, right? And also the desk layout. I really liked that my middle school CT had this crescent-shaped desk layout. It not only allowed more movement for her, but more interaction between the students. It didn't feel so factory-like, right? Letting them choose their seating is also very nice. That makes them feel like they have more autonomy. And then move specific students and not the entire class. Like, that's more beneficial. And also, sitting and teaching in different places in the classroom is so good. Teaching without being glued to the board is a learned skill. So that's definitely something that I need to work on. And so it's hard, right? Because you're trying to like, oh, what am I supposed to do, right? But learning how to do that will come naturally eventually. And then also making sure all your students feel welcomed into your classroom. All right, so these are just a few reminders that I want to give you to take into the future with you. Um, for beginning teachers and student teachers, don't beat yourself up if you make mistakes. I feel like if you, again, being honest with your students will make them trust and understand you, especially if you're just starting out, because because you're human, right? So if you're honest with them about what you're doing, they will understand. All right, and they'll give you a better time. And then also, don't worry, you'll find your teaching style along the way, and also be confident in yourself and have fun with your discipline. If you're passionate about the subject that you're teaching, make sure it shows with the content and the lesson plans that you're creating for your kids, because you want to make sure that they have fun, right? And you also want to have fun, especially if you're grading it. So just make sure they have fun. You and them have fun. And then also listen to and use the textbook, but keep in mind that the real world classrooms will give you pleasant surprises and also harsh realities. Um, but don't let that discourage you, right? It's all part of the learning process of becoming better educators. And also remember to practice wait time. That is something that I definitely struggle with in my first 2 placements, is just getting to learn to wait and to let them think. Because they're thinking, we need to help them think. So that's definitely something I will suggest to you guys, is definitely work on that. Make sure you're aware. But that's basically all I have for this presentation. I hope you take all of these tips and what I've said, and I hope it's useful to your future careers as educators. Thank you so much. Bye.